codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Hello, Captains, and welcome to the live broadcast recording of episode 479 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I see the chat is already active with several members of our community: Jose, Jamal, Dave, Teacher Guy, Farnsworth. Did I say Jamal? Yes, Jamal twice because he's also watching on YouTube and Facebook. That's dedication. Let those numbers go up, Jamal. Thank you.
But
Peter.
But how many screens does he have?
I don't know.
Does he have two monitors?
Yeah, I know. Look, for those of you watching right now who are technically inclined, I'm going to say this again later, probably like 8 times throughout the show. Skiffy is, like many of us, juggling kids and work from home and things like that. And so his time is... what's the word I'm looking for? His time is... Evaporating. Yeah, that's a good word. So we are indeed... What's up, Simi? So we are looking for a live stream technician to fill in that gap. If you've ever wanted to be a voice on this show and help us out with the live stream, by all means, please feel free to reach out to us. You can find us virtually anywhere. You can email me directly, find me directly, and message me directly. Incoming at Priority 1 Podcast, or visit priority1podcast.com/volunteers, because there's a form online that there's a form available to you that volunteer in singular, that you can fill out if you're interested. We have other positions too, like audio editors, but we do need a bit of a fourth voice. Think of Skiffy was very much like the Roz of our show, right? Roz from Frasier, or what's her name from I wrote Robin? It in the Robin Quivers on the Howard Stern show. Yeah.
So I knew you were going with that.
Yes, yeah. So if you are if you're interested, if you're technically savvy, honestly, you really don't have to be technically savvy. You just need to have a solid internet connection. If you have a solid internet connection, you can be taught how to do this. It's not overly complicated, but it does require attention. You've got to be focused on what's happening on the live stream, which is why Skiffy, for instance, was never tasked with reading the script or the headlines, because his focus was to managing the live stream, keeping an eye on chat, keeping an eye on making sure that there's music playing, that there's the underscoring, all that jazz. So, yeah, if you're interested, again, that's PriorityOnePodcast.com/volunteer. We'll be going over this again over the intro and after the doggies finish singing their song of love to Kat. She's yelling at them like they understand. Hey, you! Stop it! Stop it now! Okay. She actually had to get up. Kat, your dogs are not like the dog. Do they talk back? They talk back to you, don't you? You made them genetically altered. She can't respond now.
No. But she hears everything.
But
and
she
she's
hears
gonna come
everything.
back and say to you.
Yes, they do have plenty to say.
Yeah.
Although they can't turn into an awesome cube
They cannot.
and clunk
They cannot.
across the floor. That'd be awesome.
So, all right, why don't we get a show
Dogs do that.
started? How you guys doing? You guys all right? Tony, you
Considering. Considering.
Considering? Did I miss something
Considering.
today?
Huh?
Did I miss a headline today?
Oh no, did you? Oh wait, there's something I don't know? Did
I don't
something
know.
happen that I'm not aware of? Oh
I'm
no,
not sure.
oh no, oh no.
So I watched. I work in IT. I work in IT, and I have a story to tell. Ready? Sit
Okay.
back, kids. Let's talk about this.
We're on the radio, so you might as well just go ahead.
I know. So I already knew this. I work in IT. I'm very familiar with the impact that social media has on our daily lives, and I've been on Facebook, just as long as the next person has been. But I watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, and I don't want to say that it didn't open my eyes, again, because I knew these things. I knew that the algorithms were becoming out of control, that it is becoming very much the hell's the name of the Terminator?
Skynet.
Skynet, thank you. So, but I watched The Social Dilemma, and I don't know, there was something about its delivery. It was something about the way the documentary was delivered that I went, you know what, man? Yeah, I gotta just back off. I gotta do my best to back off social media. Or especially Facebook,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and look, man, I'm going to admit it. I'm pretty sure I have an addiction to Facebook. I spend more time on Facebook than I do gaming, if that says anything. I don't game anymore. That dopamine trigger happens on Facebook for me than it does while I'm playing a game. So, yeah, I had a problem. I have a problem. And, like many people have a problem, just the scroll zombie kind of thing, which is very easy to do. So,
It absolutely is.
yeah, it's just so easy to get lost.
I deleted Facebook and I took Twitter off my phone.
So I didn't delete any of my accounts, right? Because there is it's become a necessary evil, unfortunately, right? If I want to stay in touch with friends or family that are, overseas or across the United States, around the world, also managing the Priority One Facebook page, managing the Facebook group for Priority One, all these things right there, they've become a necessary evil. But yes, I did delete the Facebook app from my phone. I deleted Instagram from my phone. Twitter I kept up. But I even went...
One thing at a time.
Yeah, one thing at a time. The other thing, mostly Twitter, because there's that Star Trek social community, right? That I do like to, that brings me joy. Like that's like a good, like, oh, okay, cool, more Star Trek stuff, right? Where you don't get that on Facebook necessarily. But then I also installed a extension for Firefox called, what's this called? Leech Block, where look, man,
That's a good name.
I have it set to just look, if I'm going to do social media, 15 minutes every hour, if that. And it does a countdown, and at the end of the 15 minutes, it knocks me off Facebook, it knocks me off Instagram, it knocks me off Twitter. And you know what, man? I'm reclaiming a lot. You know how many articles I've read? You know how many things I've done? And it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. It's crazy. So, look, guys, I'm not telling you got to quit Facebook or anything.
I just want to get my pictures off of Facebook and onto something else. But I mean, I think deleting the app from my phone might be a good first step.
Yeah, that's a big first step.
It's not as convenient. It's not as handy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah, because I'm not gonna log in on my computer because that's not what it's for.
Right. That's not what it's for. Exactly. Right. When I sit here, this is what I do with it. This is what I do with my computer when I sit down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's that. Yeah. Some of it's muscle memory too. You got to break that muscle memory, right? You sit
Right.
down. You
Muscle,
open
exactly.
the phone.
All
Your
in
thumb
all,
knows right where
though-
the button is. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I told you my internet went down over the weekend, so I actually
Yeah.
sat at this desk looking at the screens going, what do I do?
now?
It's- no. No.
It
Sweet
doesn't
fine
work.
things.
No,
Doesn't
Where
work.
Where is things?
I know.
It was horrible. I had a clean house.
I would argue aggressively relaxing that we are indeed aggressively talking about Trek news, because we gotta expand our minds, man. In order to get to that future that Gene Roddenberry envisioned, man, we gotta get off Facebook, we gotta get off of Instagram, we gotta get on get off Twitter.
The secret is curating. Let me tell you a story. Can I tell you a story from the ancient times of the long, long ago?
Yes.
This is back when cell phones first started to be a thing. Like in the late 90s, maybe. Like, when cell phones were around since the 80s, but they weren't a thing until like the latter half of the 90s. And my uncle was 10 years older maybe than I am now, maybe 5. He's about my age or a little bit older. He was at lunch with a friend of his who had just gotten one of the new flippy type phones, the Motorola Star Trek type things. It was very fancy, and it had the caller ID on it. And so you could tell who was calling. And so his phone rang, and he picked it up off the table and looked at the caller ID and then put it back down. And they kept on talking, and the phone rang again. And he picked it up off there and looked at the caller ID, and he put it back down. And my uncle said, it's okay. If you need to take that, you go. I mean, it won't bother me. It's all right. And then the guy sat across the table from him and said, yeah, I got this phone for my convenience, not anyone else's. So if you get that attitude again, like, this is all for me. It's not. I'm not. This isn't for everyone else. Right. I'm going to do what I like to do with it. I'm going to follow the groups I want to follow. I'm gonna do the things, and I'm gonna spend like Elio did. I'm gonna spend this much on it and no more.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to do. Then it's a good start.
Expand your mind, folks. Expand your mind. Read articles. I subscribe to. I got a Feedly account that I did get. I like Feedly. Feedly. All right, why don't we do a show? Ready?
Let's do a show.
We're aggravating, aggressively relaxing. He wants to talk about Star Trek.
Well, he's got a chat channel. He can curate the chat channel for us.
We tease you out of love aggressively. I don't know what your real name is.
Something aggressive.
I bet you. But you know what it is though. To be honest with you, is that sometimes I know somebody by their tag name, and not, and I haven't, or like they'll meet at Vegas or something, right? And they'll be like, "Oh, hi, I'm Bob." I'm like, "Bob? Yeah, we spoke the other day." I didn't talk to Bob, but I spoke to Captain Marvelous. That's who I spoke to, so I know Captain Marvelous. But anyway. All right, shall we?
Let's.
I'm gonna hit the big red button. Kat, you ready? You think
I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button, and I forgot who read. Kat, you haven't read in a while, right? The cold open. Why don't you go ahead and do it?
Okay.
All right,
That was Tony's turn.
Is it? All right, Tony. I'm gonna hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elio intro sync 1.
This is Kat intro sync 2.
This is Tony intro sync 3.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's just the 3 of us.
There's no 4.
Intro in 3, 2.
This week on episode 479 of Priority 1, we trek out Star Trek's Emmy Hall, Noah Hawley's shelved Trek plans, Star Trek Universe's New York Comic-Con offerings, and nostalgia at the movies. In Star Trek Gaming, Star Trek Timeline's releases neither created nor destroyed, and one of our audio editors, Gray, is stepping up to the mic for a look back at gaming in the Star Trek Multiverse.
Hello, Captains. You're listening to episode 479 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. your weekly recap and review of all the major news happening in the Star Trek multiverse. This episode was recorded live on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020, and available for download or streaming on Friday, September 25th at PriorityOnePodcast.com. I'm Elio.
I'm Kat.
I'm Tony.
And nobody is in the booth this week, leaving a position open, which we'll get to in just a moment.
Captains, each week between episodes, we love to engage in conversations with you, our listeners, on places like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you aren't already following us on any one of those, be sure to look us up. There we post things like community questions, special announcements, and more. Just search for Priority One Podcast on your favorite social media app and you will find us. Or email us. You can reach us at incoming@PriorityOnePodcast.com.
Captains, you know, I say it every week, engaging with you is really the highlight of producing this show. Being able to chat with you while we're recording live and everybody's engaging with us in the chat room, to in between recordings when we engage with you and have conversations with you on social media. So be sure to keep an eye on our posts and chat back with us. But in order for us to keep some of those tools handy, it's weird standing up. I feel like I've added another, like a clown, like that's how I feel. It's weird.
Well, yes, the big red nose also does it, and those shoes. My God, those shoes.
Thank you.
It's floppy shoes.
But Captains, producing this show, unfortunately, is not a free endeavor. And as a result, we turn to you, our community, to help support the ongoing production of this show via Patreon. So, if you have a few dollars to spare each month, visit us over at patreon.com/PriorityOne to find out all the awesome perks that we offer to our supporting members.
But if financial support isn't in the cards, don't forget about sharing our show to all your friends. Hit that like, retweet, and/or share button when you come across one of our posts. Or perhaps you'd like to join the team.
So, Captains, as you can tell, Skiffy is not with us. Thankfully, nothing has happened to him. Just he's lacking some time given work from home and taking care of kids at the house. So we are looking to add a new live stream technician to our group, much like Skiffy was Roz on Frasier, or I keep forgetting her name.
Robin.
Much like Skiffy was our Roz from Frasier or Robin from the Howard Stern show, we need somebody to help us manage the live stream during our Tuesday night recordings and be a bit of a fourth host. So if you are interested, be sure to visit us on our website at PriorityOnePodcast.com, and up at the very top, there's a link that says Join the Team. There, you'll see a description of what it is. You'll see a description of what it takes to be a live stream technician and a handy form at the bottom of the page for you to express your interest. Remember, Captains, all of the positions here at Priority One Podcast are volunteer. Nobody, not I, not Tony, not Kat, nobody gets paid for the work and talents that they contribute to the production of this show. Much like cast and crew members of a community theater show share a passion for the performing arts, we have a passion for podcasting and, of course, for Star Trek. So if you want to join the team, be sure to visit us on our website, PriorityOnePodcast.com, and click on the Join the Team link.
Ken from Chicago, he's cracking me up.
Why
He
was
said
he-
we're using the EPH, the emergency producer hologram, and then
Right.
said our glasses and/or beard required. I forgot my beard tonight, though, Ken.
She has her glasses though.
I was just
That's the
thinking,
and/or.
everybody wears glasses. That's crazy.
There,
Tony, why don't you
there we
fix
go.
that?
No, and or. Okay.
And I can't see if I do that.
Okay. Now let's check out the latest news from the Star Trek Multiverse.
Everybody hit stop. Please, somebody join the team. Please. Please, I don't want to have to worry about live streaming while we're recording. Please.
You didn't mention that you do get one free virtual high five once per calendar year.
But sometimes it's even a real high five in person.
Well, let's not get out of hand. We do have the
That's true.
pandemic and whatnot.
That's true. That's a good point.
It will be next year when we go to the Next Generation opening at Ticonderoga.
Better believe it.
That's gonna be awesome.
Dress myself in saran wrap and go up there.
Oh, hey, by the way, guys, if you're watching us live, be sure to share and tweet out the fact that you're watching us live right now. And then delete your
Delete your Facebook.
apps. Delete your Facebook apps. Look, I'm not saying delete your apps. Just like I didn't say delete your Star Trek Online.
No, delete your accounts. Yeah.
I didn't say that. I said monitor how much you spend time on these things.
Yeah, I've actively been avoiding them.
And explain to your older relatives that everything on there that is labeled as news is not necessarily news.
I had to mute some of my family members. You know who you are, pretty much all my family.
Family members.
I'm like everyone in my family.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Curate your feed. It's there for your convenience, not anyone else's, right? Yeah, it's like, this ain't doing it for me. Beep.
Oh, except my cool aunt and uncle, who are awesome, and cousins of their family.
But Tony, here's the thing: is that your feed at least on social media, your feed is curated for you.
By the algorithm, you say?
By the algorithm, I say. Yes, I say by the algorithm. Ha
Yeah. Well, stop that algorithm. I ain't having it no mo.
I'll just get my news from Priority One.
That's right. Oh, that's the saddest of all.
How dare you?
We
Star
don't
Trek news is
do
the best
news. We do
news.
commentary. We're like the worst on the internet. We're the worst part about the internet because all we do is like say what we think about what other people
Jesus
say.
Christ, Tony! Why are you even on this show? You know what? We're gonna need another host.
Because it's really fun.
We're
It's
filling
really
We're gonna
fun
be
to
filling
do.
Tony's spot also.
Because it's really fun to do.
So if you're interested, please feel free to submit your interest that you want to also be a full-time host on the show.
Yeah, because it's really fun.
Dick.
Everyone's so positive these days.
My God. And this not bring you a little bit of joy, Tony? Not
This
even
brings
a
me
little?
tons of joy. It's because we've been doing it for like how many years now? 6 years, 8 years? I don't know, maybe 7 years, something like that.
6 or 7.
Like
All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button for Trek. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Hey Panda, if you're interested in look, existing members of the Priority One cast and crew can also express interest in this, please. All you have to do is have a decent internet connection. That's all that matters. And even then, we can probably set it up with a virtual machine, and we can let the virtual machine do all the work. All right, I'm gonna hit the big red button for Trek It Out in 3, 2, 1. This is Elio. Trek It Out, Sync 1.
This is Kat. Trek It Out. Sync 2.
This is Tony. Check it out. Sync 3.
Trek It Out in 3, 2. 2020's Creative Arts Emmy Awards. 2020's Creative Arts Emmy Awards. 2020's Creative Arts Emmy Awards show was a lot like the year itself. Unorthodox. The awards ceremony... Oh, I know why I'm having trouble, because I don't have my old people zoom in going on here.
Need your broadcast classes.
The broadcast classes. The awards ceremony, which ran from September 14th to September 19th, quote, honored outstanding artistic and technical achievement in a variety of television program genres, guest performances in weekly series, as well as experimental work in the animation, reality, and documentary categories, end quote.
Or exceptional work. Exceptional work.
Crap. As well as exceptional work in the animation, reality, and documentary categories, end quote. The awards streamed throughout the week. The awards streamed throughout the week and aired its final night on FXX Virtual Live. All nominees were required to pre-record an acceptance speech, the winners being played and the rest discarded. There was even a snafu when announcing the guest actor in drama. Ron Cephas Jones won, but Jason Bateman was announced the winner. Star Trek's showing at the awards was much like the 2020 Creative Arts Emmy Awards show, and 2020 itself, a bit of a letdown. First, the good. On Wednesday, September 16th, Star Trek took home its first Emmy Award. The crew behind Star Trek Picard won the Outstanding Prosthetic Makeup for a Series, Limited Series, Movie, or Special for its work on the episode Stardust City Rag. The episode faced and bested some stiff competition, including The Mandalorian and Westworld. We would like, of course, everyone here at Priority One Podcast would like to extend our congratulations to the team for the... All of us here at Priority One would, of course, like to congratulate the team for its impressive win. What an impressive
That wasn't the
win.
wind I was thinking about, but okay, yeah, that's probably better.
The team here
Cat
at
knows what
Priority
I'm talking about.
The team here at Priority One would like to extend our congratulations to the team for this impressive win. Tony, why don't... Actually, Kat, can you read this next, just to break it up a little bit?
Sure. Let me scroll. Now the not so good. That was Star Trek's only win. The other 5 unsuccessful nominations came in the categories of Outstanding Sound Editing for a Comedy or Drama Series, 1 hour. Stranger Things, Chapter 8, The Battle of Starcourt, won that.
Wait.
What?
So he just listed all the other winners?
Yeah, this is a list of all the shows that beat Star Trek.
Yeah, do we need this?
No, we don't need this.
I feel like I'm...
Here's all the people that were better than Star Trek.
Outstanding short form comedy or drama series. It's like that list they do of the... Earlier this evening, we gave out the following awards.
Yeah. You didn't
that's
see
where
this,
they-
and no one cares. So,
That's
but
where they
it's a list.
listed. Yeah, that's where they listed the Star Trek winner. Earlier in the best makeup.
Yeah. Sometime around 4 o'clock in
Kat-
the afternoon when no...
Why don't you
Alright.
read this part? Just read this part.
Okay.
Don't text me during the show, Jake. Don't text me. Don't try to fix this during the show. I'm gonna take my executive producer wand and do whatever I want. Beep! I want.
Do whatever
Where
the
is
bleep you want.
Where's Selig?
A beep.
Now the not so good. That was Star Trek's only win. For a full list of winners, check out the link to Variety in the show notes.
For a full
Hold on. For a full list of the winners, check out our LinkedIn. Don't go there either. For a full list of the winners, check out our link to Variety in the show notes at PriorityOnePodcast.com.
They did do a very nice in memoriam to both DC Fontana and Rene Auberjonois, so that's very sweet. I am a little surprised that they won for best prosthetic makeup against so many other contenders. Look, don't get me wrong. The prosthetic work on both Discovery and Star Trek Picard is outstanding. Well, then again, I guess there's not much. I mean, what else are they? what else is out right now that has so much prosthetic? Not much, then, right?
Not that nothing comes to mind. And Star Trek, don't forget, sort of invented the bumpy four-headed alien of the week. I mean, that should be there. That they should have that market pretty well cornered. Mandalorian's some good competition.
Yes,
Star
Wars.
Mandalorian is some good competition. I'm kind of surprised that Mandalorian didn't walk away with it.
But
Now Discovery did not qualify for any of this because Discovery's not in the year, right? It's not within the year of the Emmy, of this year's Emmys.
maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think
Probably.
so, because I'm rewatching Discovery, and there is some amazing prosthetic work, going on there too. So
Yeah. Again, I mean, they should have a lock on that genre. Like they should own that space. That's,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, we can move on.
Okay. We've discussed unmade Star Trek movies ad nauseum, whether it's S.J. Clarkson's Kelvin 4, Tarantino's Piece of the Action, or Noah Hawley's recently shelved and mysteriously shrouded Star Trek offering. Many, many hours of talk have been had about 0 hours of visual media. Guess what we're gonna do now? No, we're not gonna perform the Star Trek theme as a polka, right? No, we're gonna talk about unmade Star Trek movies, but this time it's a little different. This time we're getting to pull back the veil of Noah Hawley's script thanks to Hawley himself. Get your favorite sauce ready. We've got Trek nuggets. Everyone, it's Trek nuggets.
I love when you have to say it. 'Cause I know you hate it.
That's why I always get it. That's why I always get that line. On September 15th, Variety released an interview with Hawley, mainly talking about the upcoming 4th season of Fargo, which Hawley created and serves as the series showrunner. But guess what else came up? No, not Polka Trek. What's with you and the Polka Trek, guys? I don't understand. Now, he talked about his In Stasis Star Trek script. Saying, quote, "We're not doing Kirk and we're not doing
I think
Picard.
you still said Star Trek.
It's
script.
just
Did you say like Noah Hawley is one word, like Nolly? Like he's no.
I don't. The last time I said
I didn't
Ollie
hear it.
was back in
Oh, okay.
up here. Okay.
Guess what else came up?
Guess what else came up? No, not Polka Trek. What is it with you with the Polka Trek? I don't understand. No, he talked about his In Stasis Star Trek script, saying, quote, "We're not doing Kirk and we're not doing Picard. It's a start from scratch that then allows us to do what we did with Fargo, where for the first 3 hours you go, this really has nothing to do with the movie, and then you find the money. So you reward the audience with that thing that they love," end quote. Later in the week, on October 18th, Entertainment Weekly released...
Is that
Later in the week on
September?
Later in the week on October 18th,
Wait, September.
is it
The
this
month
thing
we're in.
where, yeah. So,
Oh,
no,
it's supposed
no,
to be
Jake, you
September,
can't
not
fast
October.
forward through any reality. You can't do that, Jake. You have to live
Look.
through it with like the rest of us, okay?
As much as I'd like for it to
Just
be
skip ahead.
next year already.
It's not like the credits on Netflix. You can't just hit the skip ahead button. You can't do that. Later in the week, on September 18th, Entertainment
Can
Weekly
you
released
not say
another...
that so disdainfully? Jesus Christ. Later in the week.
Later in the week.
Ah, goddamn the show.
That wasn't it wasn't disdainfully. Was it disdainfully?
It came off very
Disdainfully.
maybe not disdain. What's the word I'm looking for? That whatever
Later
that
on
emotion
in the
is.
week.
Whatever that emotion is, you did.
And technically, September 18th, wasn't that Friday? That was like the latest possible in the week. That's like the end of the week.
I don't know, man. I don't.
Okay.
Jake,
Last
why aren't
week?
you in the show notes?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say on September 18th.
All right.
Then on September 18th, Entertainment Weekly released another article with the writer, creator, showrunner to once again discuss Fargo's 4th season and Star Trek. When asked about this... What? You're
Sorry.
laughing now.
I'm laughing at the chat.
Okay. This is why we need a booth guy, right? This is why we need somebody or girl, because then Elio's distracted.
Booth
It'd be
person.
awesome.
Booth
if
person.
a girl applied. Yay.
Yes.
Sure. Where did you make me? Okay. When asked about the script, Holly explained, quote, "I can't say much about it except it's an argument for why humanity should prevail and why we should come together and unite, which I think is important, to look at the United Federation of Planets and remember that at some point Earth is where we are now, and then we invented warp technology and met extraterrestrial life and everybody came together. But how? How did we get from where we are now to where they are then? And what happens if that utopian reality is challenged? There are times of challenge and war when we have to prove our values all over again. Maybe there's a time in the Federation where this ideal is challenged and it won't survive on its own. It needs to be saved." End quote.
Isn't that what happened in Picard?
Isn't that what happened in Enterprise?
Yeah, and Discovery.
So, I mean,
Okay.
it's never happened in the movies, I guess. I suppose.
Yes, I guess.
But that's a tough sell for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Especially if you're going to introduce a whole bunch of new characters and things, too. That's a tough sell.
Well, that leads us to our first community question this week. How do you feel about Noah Hawley's Star Trek film? Do you like the idea of moving away from Kirk and Picard? Do you think that Federation ideals need to be saved? Let us know in the comments section for this episode at PriorityOnePodcast.com or by replying to our community question post on our social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
In episode 473 of Priority One, we talked about the Star Trek cinema shuffle, including Noah Hawley's script rumors. We also discussed the cancellation of New York Comic-Con's in-person festivities. This week, Star Trek released its plans for the New York Comic-Con Metaverse online portal. Starting Thursday, October 8th at noon, and totally ignoring Priority One's production schedule, Star Trek takes the virtual stage with its Star Trek Universe offering. Star Trek Lower Decks and Star Trek Discovery are set to do the heavy lifting, with StarTrek.com saying in part, quote, "Join the creator of Star Trek Lower Decks, Mike McMahon, and series voice cast for a special edition of CBS All Access official Star Trek after show, The Ready Room, as they dive into the season 1 finale with host Will Wheaton," end quote. The website continues, quote, "Be the first to learn the latest about Star Trek Discovery before season 3 premieres on Thursday, October 15th, exclusively on CBS All Access, in Canada on Bell Media's CTV Sci-Fi channel, and streams on Crave, and on October 16th on Netflix in 188 countries." Join series stars Sonequa Martin Green, Doug Jones, Anthony Rapp, Mary Wiseman, and Wilson Cruz, new cast members David Ajala, Blue DeBarrio, and Ian Alexander, and series co-showrunners and executive producers Alex Kurtzman and Michelle Paradise, for an exclusive conversation on what's in store for the USS Discovery crew, end quote. That was a long quote. If you're interested in checking out all of ReedPop's New York Comic-Con offerings, TV Line posted a concise listing of the schedule. We'll link that and other articles discussed in our show notes.
So there's a couple of things worth noting here. One is that this particular online event is happening Thursday, October 8th, and then the premiere is happening October 15th, 16th, and a little more on that in a moment. So my guess is that they're probably gonna release some kind of footage or scene. Maybe not as impressively a scene as they have been in years past, right? For the last 2 years in New York Comic-Con at Madison Square Garden, they've shown an entire scene. We may not get that in this online virtual panel scenario, but it's likely that we will. So we as Priority One should make plans to figure out how the heck we're going to cover it to still come out with a Friday show. More on that later, behind the scenes. The other thing is the fact that it is now officially announced that Star Trek Discovery Season 3 will be on Netflix internationally the next day. So it is solidly confirmed. Great. Where are all the other shows? for our friends everywhere else. So everybody in the United States and Canada can watch it on Thursday, October 15th on their respective CBS All Access, or in Canada on Bell Media's CTV. And then everybody else around the world on October 16th on Netflix, which is a smart move, but they really need to work out their geo copyright things. They really do.
You're muted, Kat.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what the holdup here is on the other shows. I mean, they must have. Obviously, they had a deal for Discovery on Netflix, but whatever they're working out for the other shows is not working. So they need to like
think what it could be. Could it be? Oh, I got it. Cash. It's
what do you
just
mean?
money.
Like what? So I
We talked about this a long time ago. I think in relation to short treks, CBS values Star Trek at dollar level X, and everyone else values it at dollar level X minus something. And CBS is not going to close that gap for them. This is how much a Star Trek thing costs, and everyone's like, and CBS is like, fine, we'll just take our ball and go home, because that helps them with their exclusivity strategy with CBS All Access, soon to be called Paramount Plus. But that's why. This is what Star Trek costs. If you don't want to pay it, fine, you don't get it.
Do you think they're overvaluing Star Trek? Let's compare it. Let's compare it to the elephant in the room, which is Star Wars, right? Do you think that CBS is overvaluing Star Trek, in the sense that they are taking Star Trek and doing this fragmented nonsense across the globe?
No.
I feel like Disney can pull this off with Marvel or Star Wars, right? I feel like there is enough pop culture clout behind them to say, yeah, it's worth X, and if you don't want to pay it, too bad, so sad. But Paramount and both CBS tend to kind of like fumble their IPs. I mean, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Trek, they fumble them, right? So is Star Trek as valuable, or are they blowing a lot of hot air into the franchise?
I have another theory. Is that they're not wanting to release the other content until Paramount Plus goes live to drive traffic to that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to create interest by letting Disco go everywhere. So I feel like this is part of some plan.
Yeah, I think they kind of go hand in hand. Besides, Discovery has an audience already on Netflix because Netflix helped fund the first season. So Netflix already, whatever...
International Netflix.
Right.
Right.
So whatever algorithms and things that they have, they know what kind of audience they have, and they know how that translates into their subscriptions. So they paid what CBS wanted, or maybe they had some sort of residual, contractual rights to subsequent seasons from the first one. So that whatever it was, the price point for Discovery was right for them on that. But for the new stuff, they weren't offered. They didn't get a first look, a ground floor deal. I think Kat's probably right. They're like, this is stuff we've had success using Star Trek as the
Anchor.
As the anchor, as the cart puller, whatever metaphor you want to use. Let's keep that going, and that exclusivity is going to help us with that. So when we rebrand it at Paramount Plus or whatever, we have a bunch of stuff no one's seen before outside the U.S. And did they talk about how Paramount Plus is going to be international?
It did, but it sounded like that was still in the works, because wasn't it like the Nordics?
Yeah.
That was the only place listed, in Australia, maybe.
Right, yeah.
Look,
work in progress.
I'm going to be honest. I think that what they're doing... well, no, I guess not. This fragmentation reminds me a lot of back in the cable days, right? And then people would just pirate, right? It's just people would just pirate.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I mean, I would. There was a meme that was going around not long ago, and I refer to it from time to time, where it's a pirate putting away his hat because he's got Netflix and Hulu, these platforms and Amazon Prime. So there's no need to pirate anymore. But then the next scene of the meme, the next card on the meme is him taking out his pirate hat, and he's covered in online streaming services. Right? It's just the screen is full of logos for online streaming services.
Right.
So, it's. I wish that they could. I don't know. I wish that they can figure out something in some way so that everybody could enjoy it all over the world in one solid location.
Mm-hmm.
Then they wouldn't make nearly as much money.
I don't know, man. Netflix is already pulling off Star Trek shows. You know that the animated series is no longer on Netflix in the United States.
Yeah, they've been consolidating it all on CBS All Access.
Behind the wall.
Yeah, it's some sort of plan.
Please note that Priority One is not condoning nor supporting the idea of piracy.
Absolutely not. Don't do that.
Enough said.
Enough
Yeah,
said.
I'm like, just don't.
Well, Captains, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you likely had a few VHF. Well, Captains, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you likely had a few VHS tapes of your favorite movies, and some were probably recorded from their broadcast television airings. That, too, was illegal. But that's beside the point.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't.
1984, Sony. Yeah, that's the
It was
case.
not.
Really? When you
Time
recorded
shifting.
things?
Yeah,
Huh.
that's not. The Supreme Court held that was not copyright infringement.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Yep.
Well, Captains, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you likely had a few VHS tapes of your favorite movies, and some were probably recorded from their broadcast television airings. As such, you probably knew some, or all three, Night at the Movies bumpers. Well, break out the VCR and some... break out the VCR, some Keebler Magic Middles cookies, and your favorite Cabbage Patch Kid, because CBS is about to get nostalgic. Sunday Night Movies is making a limited run comeback. In the face of the current pandemic, Viacom CBS has decided to fill some scheduling holes with the old favorite CBS Sunday Night at the Movies, using the recently reacquired Paramount Pictures library. Starting on October 4th at 9 p.m. Starting on October 4th at 9:30 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern, with Old School, the movies will run for 6 non-consecutive weeks, with the first 4 being thematically scheduled for school releases and Halloween, respectively. Following Old School will be Clueless, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Scream. Coming to America will round out the offerings. Coming to America will round... That's Eddie Murphy's, right? Eddie Murphy's Coming to America will round out the offerings on November 29th. But the big news, for Star Trek fans anyway, is that Star Trek Beyond will get its broadcast premiere on November 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. For a link to a full schedule, check out the links in our show notes.
Wow, Clueless, where Paul Rudd looks exactly like Paul Rudd today.
Yeah.
Vampire.
Oh my god, I saw a meme that said Paul Rudd is the exact age that Wilford Brimley was when he filmed Cocoon. So they had a
Was
picture.
he really?
Yeah, they had a picture of Paul Rudd next to the picture of Wilford Brimley, and you're just
my
like,
gosh.
mind blown. What, Paul Rudd? You are such a vampire.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
okay. That's
That
totally
blew
good.
my mind today. So yeah,
But-
there you go.
You know, of all the movies that they could have chosen, I'm kind of glad that they chose Beyond. I really think that Beyond is incredibly underrated.
I love Beyond. I really did like it.
It's a good choice, and it's perfectly timed as well because it's a 3-hour broadcast, and the movie's 2 hours long, so they'll have plenty of time for all the commercial breaks, which is which is the part of the CBS Night at the Movies that you hated when you were trying to tape it, because your choice was either record the commercials or you got to be on that pause button on your VCR. You got to hit that pause button, and you guys remember to unpause it, because that was the worst part. If you paused it, then you forgot to unpause it when the commercials came back. It was, it was just such a stress.
Was CBS Night at the Movies around when TiVo started coming on? Because I just wanted to
sincerely doubt it. I
don't know, but yeah, TiVo was magical.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a throwback in more ways than one. Let's see if anybody still has a VCR that they can hook up to their television to take care of the.
I've got my TiVo in the closet.
I used to have the combo VHS DVD.
Oh yeah.
We still have one.
Oh wow.
But the VCR part is busted. The DVD part still works fine.
That sucks. I still have all my Twin Peaks on VHS.
Those things are more expensive now than they were.
I believe it.
When you first bought them.
And
they were expensive back then too, especially when they first came out. The dual player DVD and VHS, those were pricey when they came out. I'm pretty sure it was when I first started Best Buy. They were still selling them, and they were not cheap. And then now they're doubly expensive.
We're about 5 years away from them being a nostalgia item that you can get on eBay, like a turntable. To get we're about 5 years away from that. Yeah, so any day now.
DVD quality will be the VHS.
That's right.
Do you have the original DVD of something?
Yeah.
No, but I have it on Blu-ray. Nah, man, the DVD.
No,
the DVD.
It's the 480p, man. That's the way to be. That's where you got to do it. It was optimized for that, man. The film was optimized for 480p, man.
Yeah, we can sweep out.
Well, Captains, that's all the news we have to Trek out this week. Now let's find out what happened in the world of Star Trek gaming.
Okay, everybody hit stop.
When those words fell out of my mouth, I now realize that, yes, that's exactly what people will say. The film grain at the time was optimized for 480p, man. The 35mm translated almost exactly perfectly into that. That's exactly what's they're going to say.
A vinyl is still awesome. You are absolutely right, teacher guy.
Vinyl for sure is awesome. I just ordered a new album from my friend's band it's like fresh. It's like brand new music on vinyl. I didn't just go like to the record store and buy old stuff. So that's cool that they're still even releasing stuff on vinyl that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I read something a few weeks ago or months ago, like one of the two factories that can press vinyl masters burned down or something like that? I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I did hear that. Something like that. I don't want to hear any more if that's true, because that sounds terrible.
I'm fidgeting because I'm on a standing desk now, Jake. God damn it! Stop messaging me.
Remember what we said? You control your environment. Those channels are there for your convenience, for not anyone else's.
So I'm fidgety because I have a standing desk now. I can
isolate yourself.
I can lower the desk. I can raise the desk. So I'm on a mat. I'm on this mat thing that helps because I have really flat feet. So it's got the cushion mat is textured. It's got like raised edges. It's got a ball for the ball of your foot. So I'm fidgeting because I'm massaging the sole of my feet the way my podiatrist told me I should be doing because I have flat feet. So why do you have a walkie-talkie?
It's not a walkie-talkie. I have the Elite Dangerous radio.
I'm like,
signs as my.
Mute
was
it.
it Breaker 19? Breaker 19?
Pretty much, yeah.
The Smoky.
Come back, y'all.
In West New York, New Jersey, where I was born and raised, all the taxi cabs, most of the taxi cabs are Spanish. So it'd be like, Checo, voy a 51 Palisade, Checo.
That's not Smokey and the Bandit. That's
What?
What?
That's not
That's
Smokey
the
and the
New
Bandit.
Jersey version of Smokey and the Bandit.
What's Spanish for Smokey? I got the bandito part, but I don't know what Smokey is.
I don't know.
I mean, humo.
Okay.
I don't think there's a
Humo?
word for smoky.
Yeah.
Fuma. It's
Fumar is
smoke
to
is
smoke.
yeah,
Humo is smoke. Is the word for
like
humo.
humor.
I humo. No, that's humor.
Right, but it's the same base
Right,
word.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Guess. No, not the same base word. What?
Umo?
What kind of linguistic
Humo? This is just
No.
UMO.
Humo and then humor. I think humo. I think smoking is just starts with an O, whereas humor does start with an H in Spanish.
Okay. I have to learn more words now,
in our linguistic lesson.
so I can
for the
translate Smokey and the Bandit. It's an important thing.
Well, this is
Better
gonna be
than better in the original Klingon.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God, they need a Klingon version of Smokey.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Someone get on that. That would be amazing. There's beer in Texarkana, but they're thirsty in Atlanta. All right, what are we doing again?
gaming, which is only one thing. And Kat, you can read it.
Oh, awesome.
But didn't we announce something at the beginning? Somebody was going to do something?
Yeah. Gray recorded an awesome retro track, and so that'll be on Friday's show.
Oh, okay. You
Oh
just wait for
yeah,
that.
I read the
Unless you guys
script
want
and
to
it
take a
was
break, and I can
awesome.
play it. I can play what he's got.
I'm okay.
I mean, I could use a refill.
All right, I could use a refill too.
All right, hold on. Let me grab it. Oh, Gray. Gray, I'm gonna grab the second to last one you sent me because I haven't listened to the most recent one.
So we want to record the little Star Trek gaming blurb here.
Yeah.
and then do that?
But just
okay.
give me a second to.
We'll do it in line with the show.
Okay. You guys ready for gaming?
Yes.
Yep.
So then after I read the... Oh, they already filled in Gray. Oh, cool. All right, so after I read this part where I play audio, where it says play audio, we'll just all hit stop. Oh, actually, Kat, you'll need to sweep us out. Yeah, so I'll read this, and then Kat will sweep us out, and then we'll hit stop, and then I'll play Gray's audio.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to hit the big red button for gaming in 3, 2, 1. This is Elio, Gaming Sync 1.
This is Cat Gaming News Sync 2.
This is Tony Gaming Sync 3.
Oh, yeah. Gaming in 3, 2. In gaming news this week. Tony, why don't you read?
From September 24th through the 28th, Ferengi, Augments, and Bajorans will destructively interfere with each other in Star Trek Timeline's Law of Conservation Galaxy event. Emery Erickson and Alton Inigo soon beam in as event crew, assuming Transporter Chief Rand gets their transport pattern straightened out. Whoever prevails will claim Roger Corby as the event's ranked reward, or is it actually his android duplicate? Who can tell?
Well, this one's a little more thematic, right? This is not just random people out of nowhere.
It's a little bit of a stretch. It's a little, yeah. We got a transporter chief, android guy, an augment guy, and another transporter guy. Yeah, I mean they're just grabbing supporting characters wherever they can find them now.
Now, captains, the world of Star Trek gaming is vast and varied, and we want to spotlight some previously released Star Trek games. Whether to celebrate a classic or make a new introduction, we are going to slingshot around the sun for our new segment, Retro Trek. Now, here's Gray with a popular Star Trek video game celebrating its 20th anniversary. Insert Retro Trek here. Kat, would you please sweep us out?
That's a nice segue. That's all we have to cover this week in Star Trek Gaming. Now let's look on screen for the newest episode in the Star Trek Multiverse. We didn't want to list that out?
What?
Like, say, here's the next episode of Lower
No, because we
Decks?
say it at the start of on screen, so I feel it's redundant.
Oh, okay. Well, smart then. All right.
Everybody hit stop.
That was a really short segment.
Yeah, it
It
was.
What was that? 2 minutes and 20
2
seconds.
minutes.
Well, whoever
All right.
gets to edit that is lucky.
So we have, this is a 3-minute segment. Okay, so we will take a I'm gonna play Gray's retro trek on Elite Force, which is great. He did a phenomenal job on this. Be right back.
I'm sure you know the old joke. Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and a redshirt beam down to a planet. Guess which 3 make it back? Star Trek Voyager Elite Force is the 21st century answer to that. Released in September 2000, Elite Force takes place on the starship Voyager towards the end of 2376, which is the penultimate season of Star Trek Voyager. Tuvok creates the Hazard Team, which is essentially lower decks crewmen who are given advanced training to become Voyager's commandos. Elite Force is a first-person shooter, meaning you really get to feel like you're part of this world, despite playing as Ensign Alexander or Alexandria Monroe. The single-player campaign takes you through an exciting handful of missions, pitting you against the Delta Quadrant classics such as the Borg, the Malon, and the Hirogen. The game doesn't rest on its established species, however, and introduces several new races, taking full advantage of the 3D world of the game to show the floating, butterfly-like race the Etherians, cockroach-like harvesters, or a plethora of security drones. Elite Force was praised in its day by Trekkies for its authentic use of the Star Trek license, realizing races like the Borg in terrifying detail. So terrifying, in fact, that 9-year-old me hid under the table when I found myself alone on a Borg cube surrounded by drones. The wider gamer community itself praised the game too, as they felt the gameplay was impeccable, and although the Star Trek elements complemented the game, it was still an enjoyable experience without being a Trek fan. On top of a great single-player campaign featuring the whole main cast of Voyager reprising their roles, the game offers a multiplayer experience that is surprisingly addictive. With maps that take inspiration from all corners of Star Trek, the game also includes skins and bots for characters that appeared in the game, in Voyager in general, and even some of the wider Trek world, including various Romulans along with Sela, various Klingons along with Gowron, and even the sonar from the then most recent Trek movie, Insurrection. Not long after the game was released, an expansion pack was worked on, adding some additional features to the multiplayer and a pretty comprehensive and interactive map of Voyager itself, allowing you to explore the bridge, engineering, and even the computer core totally at your leisure, with the final cherry on the cake being a fully playable holodeck mission set in the Captain Proton world, complete with Proton Blaster and monochrome surroundings. The game was enjoyed by a great many people, reflected in the sheer creativity to be found in the modding community for this game, ranging from additional maps and characters for the multiplayer to total game conversions for the single player. Even when you've completed the official game, there's a wealth of worlds still yet to explore thanks to the modding community. 20 years on, how does the experience fare? Well, surprisingly good. In part thanks to the modding community and to the developers, Raven Software, for releasing the source code for the multiplayer, which means that you can experience that side of the game completely free and totally legally. Fans over at The Last Outpost have even taken it upon themselves to improve the game engine and package it all up so that it will work easily with modern software. Check out the links for more information and if you want to try out the game. And if you do, I'm often on the Priority 1 Discord if you need help or someone to play with. Set phasers to frag. I'm sure you know the old joke.
Command codes verified.
And we're back. Hello, hello. Selick, Gray, amazing job. That was a phenomenal retro trek and visit into Elite Force. I mean, just absolutely amazing, spot on. So great work, wonderfully and beautifully edited. That was just amazing. So way to go. I never played Elite Force when it was out. So 20 years. So I was in high school, right? 20 years ago, I was in high school. yeah, I missed that game. I did not play it.
It was a shooter. I didn't play it either.
Yeah, I didn't play it either, but well done, Gray. That was excellent.
So Gray, you and I should talk, because what we should do is try to schedule a game night where we can jump on and play. I don't know how many people you can have on at the same time to play with you. Like, is it just like a 10 team thing, 5v5, or can it be like 20v20 or something like that? Because you see, here's the thing: when you play with friends like us, right? When it's a community like ours, I'm laughing at Jamal. Yes, I'm young. I'm 36, 35.
It's like a baby.
35 turning 36 in about a month. It's much more fun. I think back on Tony. Were you there for laser tag at Vegas? That year?
I missed by about a day.
Oh man, that was a good night. That was a really fun night. Winters was there. Robert Hurt was there. Hippie John, I think, was there. I don't think it was Hippie John. I think I always get his name wrong. I always get his handle wrong. But
There's a lot of people. I saw the picture.
There was a lot of people there, and it was
yeah.
so much fun. And so I feel like you can almost recreate that a little bit with Elite Force. So yes, Gray, let's talk about picking a night when we can all do it live. Yeah. But way to go! That was great. Oh, crap! I closed the one segment that we're doing. All right. Screen should also be short because it's just a 3S.
Well, yeah. And plus, Skiffy won't be telling you, how awesome it is, because that takes up a lot of time when Skiffy's on saying that over and over again. I have to do that job. I have to do that job. It's my job.
Sounds good. All right. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready.
I'm at the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elio on screen, sync 1.
This is Kat on screen, sync 2.
This is Tony on screen, sync 3.
On screen in 3, 2. Computer. Set Star Trek Lower Decks Season 1, Episode 7, Much Ado About Boimler. On screen.
Ever wonder if dogs could be better? Well, Tendi sure did, and in her spare time created the dog. Meanwhile, most of the bridge crew is away on an urgent germination mission, leaving the Cerritos under the command of substitute captain Amina Ramsey, who also happens to be Mariner's old academy friend. Boimler, in an effort to try to impress the new captain, finds himself dealing with a bit of a transporter issue.
All right, guys, let's get ready to talk about the show. Ignore the transporter effect that's just going to underline this entire segment.
What?
Yeah, just ignore
What?
the transporter sound.
I
Ignore
can't-
it.
I'm sorry. I can't hear you over the transporter sound that's happening right now.
I'm sorry.
I can't see you very well either. I think you're phasing.
Are you phasing?
Yeah, I'm phasing. It was a bad transporter. Look, at least I'm not...
It sounds like you're phasing, and it looks like you're
phased.
phasing, but I can't hear a thing you're saying.
Well, captains, let's get through with some of these statistics. This episode was written by M. Willis, directed by Barry J. Kelly, and first premiered in the United States on September 17th, 2020. All right, let's go with Tony. Tony, why don't you tell us what your favorite scene was, favorite moment of this episode?
I liked all of it.
Jesus Christ. Stop it. You know what you're telling me? You know what you're admitting? You're admitting you're not doing your homework. And you're admitting that you're not going through this list answering these questions.
That's right.
You're
I'm admitting all of it. Your Honor, I am guilty as charged. Sentence me to whatever it is you're going to sentence me to.
I knew it. And teachers
Whatever,
have said,
what are you going to sentence me to?
I'm taking off the gold star, man.
I've lost the gold star? Well, let me tell you why I liked all of it. Because, as I said last week, and I think this episode is further evidence of it, they're finding their groove. They've got a good groove going here. Got the cold open. I wish they would disconnect it from the plot, but still they got the cold open. They've got the storylines, the separate storylines, which they've separated the teams out a little bit, and they've got they are highlighting sort of a character per week, and they are, contrary to my prediction, they are sort of advancing their characters a little bit. And I think that they're defining Mariner a little bit better, but I think they made a mistake this week.
Well, you forfeit your ability and your chance to explain why, because you didn't do your homework. Kat, why don't you talk to us about?
What? I want to hear the mistake.
But I'm sorry.
He can wait.
I
till
was
the
told
end.
that I can't.
He can wait till the end.
I was told I
Go
can't
to the
go.
back of the line, and he's gonna have to wait now. Back of
All
the
right. Well, okay then. As long as we come back to that. My favorite was obviously the dog because it was awesome. I want one. I love
go with your other 7.
It's only 3.
Oh, okay.
I love seeing Tendi and Boimler, though. I was just saying, they should mix up the crew some, and there you go, they did.
Yep.
And I was really thinking they were gonna bring Mariner down a couple of pegs, and then she's faking and is the best thing ever again. So I was kind of disappointed with that. I mean,
I was the opposite. I was like, this character, they're taking away, they're going 180 degrees off this character. What's wrong? And then it was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Right. So.
But I really did like this episode. I thought it was good.
I liked it too. I thought that it was the most. If we were to measure this on a basic understanding of Star Trek's history and repertoire, I would say this felt most in line with a majority of Star Trek shows, episodes, and I enjoyed it for that reason. I wish that this episode was not episode 7 and instead episode 3. Specifically, I'm referring to Mariner's arc in this particular episode, right? We've gone 7 episodes of just no real understanding, no real direction as to why Mariner is the way she is. Clearly she's intelligent. Clearly she's a Starfleet officer, but she just chooses not to be, right? She's made a conscious choice to not rise up the ranks. And this episode, even though it doesn't explain why, she says at the very end, in the epilogue, in the last scene, I'm still finding myself. You know, and that's A-okay. I would have loved this episode 4 episodes ago and not have to wait this long for it.
But
no, I mean, the only but is that there's nothing original about this show. Like, there's not even. I get that they're making fun of Star Trek. I get that when I say original, I'm not talking about, oh well, they're just making fun of Star Trek. I'm not saying that. Like, you can do that, and I think you can do that while still telling a unique story. But like the dog thing, although funny and cute, reminded me a lot of the cat in Rick and Morty on the last season of Rick and Morty. Reminded me of Adult Swim's Mr. Pickles. It even had a little bit of Charlie the Unicorn, that YouTube series, if you're familiar with it. So nothing feels original, and the only saving grace of the show is that it makes fun of Star Trek. It parodies it literally, just for. Never mind, cut that out. Like, for instance, they in the very beginning of the show they make fun of Chain of Command, and they're all in their black suits. Just to plant something. The absurdity of it was hilarious.
I loved it. Throw Jellicoe out on us, a substitute captain.
Right. Babysitting Jellicoe. So yeah, I mean,
awesome.
I liked this episode. I thought it was kind of the most traditional Trek episode yet. I wish it was a little earlier, and I just wish that some of their plots were a little more original.
But this is the but that I was saying just a second ago, is that it wouldn't have worked in episode 7 because this is the whole they're making the character move a little bit that I was saying. You couldn't make this episode 3 because you wouldn't have seen Mariner over and over again, being the badass, but also snubbing her nose at authority, blah blah blah. This episode, you're like, wait, she's tight with this captain. She likes this captain. She wants to do well for this captain. But then throws the game. So I mean, that's odd. That's different. That's new. And I didn't like the whole "I'm finding myself" thing. I thought it was stupid because this is where my math is fuzzy. How old is Mariner? If her Starfleet Command classmate is a legit captain now.
That's what I thought.
Bro, come on, man. You know that you can get in Star Trek. You can get promoted like that.
I know. The speed of plot, I understand that, but I mean, but still, if you're worried about the Star Trek setting at all, you got to have 10, 15 years between graduating the academy and getting a command. So I mean,
but even Boimler kind of in passing was like, back in the day, he told her back in the day, how old are you? Aren't we the same age? But she didn't respond.
Right. So
and this flashback with the hair.
With the hair.
I mean, how old is she?
Right. So maybe, and again, in cartoons you can get away with that. So maybe there is a big mystery here. Like she's aged really well, has fantastic skin, and she's actually is pushing 40 at this point. And with the whole Kirk didn't thing, 34 years old in the original series was, and he was the youngest captain of the Starfleet. Okay, so that's at least 12 years. Even if he was, if we're counting 22 as when he graduated from the academy, so that's at least a decade. So, but and don't count the movies because that's just stupid. The JJ movies. But the mistake I think they made with her is that when she was throwing the game, at least on that one away mission, she put people in danger, right? Like the thing was going to explode, and she forgot the tricorders. That's something that Mariner has never done.
I don't think it was that dangerous. I think that was calculated. I'm sure they would have just gotten a whole bunch of bog water all over themselves, but...
Well, they played it for danger, though, right? They oh my god, it's going to explode, oh my god. So, I mean, that's the sort of thing where she's never... The character Mariner's never done that. I think that was maybe a little bit of a mistake. I'm not going to, come down on him on it too much, but... For as much as they have been so extremely consistent with what the characters are supposed to be doing and how they work, I thought that was a little bit off. But the rest of it, kicking and punching the big alien, and the alien at the end of it turned into a space jellyfish. I mean, that's pretty Star Trek, like Elliot was saying. That's pretty Star Trek.
Yeah. The ending where it's like a crab looking for a shell kind of alien thing was, it felt very, very traditional Star Trek episodic content to me, and I really did enjoy it. Before we close, I would like to say something else about other Star Trek. So season 3 of Discovery is about to hit in a little under a month. Season 3, right? So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna rewatch season 2. I just kind of want to feel, get back into the swing of the Discovery crew, and I am thoroughly enjoying season 2 of Discovery much more than I did in the past. Because
Anson Mount's so...
Well, one thing is that Anson Mount is a national treasure. Like he just needs It was funny because I was plating food. I was plating dinner or something, and I just blurted out, "Man, Anson Mount's handsome." And and then Allie goes, "Yeah, he's like a silver fox Ken doll. Like he's just like perfectly coiffed and perfect." And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, we all wish for Anson Mount hair. That's so true.
I do.
True.
So, but I if you haven't binged season 2 of Discovery, I recommend that you do, especially if you have very critical opinions about the series. You may still have critical opinions at the end. I still have some. There's some plot holes. There's some things that are not clear.
The time travel thing,
time travel thing is really, really forced. Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And they all said to themselves, it feels like they all said to themselves in the writer's room, it's time travel. It's not supposed to make sense. Let's just do whatever. So it's very odd in that way. But I didn't feel like one of the biggest complaints as we were reviewing it was, oh my god, this Spock thing. Oh my god, the Spock thing. Holy shit, can we just get Spock on the show already, for the love of God? And I think that problem stemmed from marketing on a weekly
There you go. There
serialized
it is.
show.
Weekly.
Because on rewatching it, those episodes leading up to Spock really don't dwell on him. He's a
There you
passing
go.
mention every once in a while. You know, like he's not the core of the plot until he comes on board. And even then it's like his whole losing consciousness. Again, there are holes. There are holes that I'm still going to hold him accountable for. Like, for instance, why is it breaking Spock's brain? Because he saw visions of the future? Like, that's really what they're saying, is that he mind melded, he saw visions of the future, and it broke him. Because, and I'm thinking to myself,
Reasons.
why? Is it like T'Pol? Like T'Pol refused to accept time travel in Enterprise? Is there a thing with time travel that Vulcans just cannot digest? Are they allergic to it? Is that what the problem is? So there's little
They're temporal intolerant.
temporal.
Does it make logical sense?
Oh, does anybody have any
intolerant.
temporal relays? Oh, I'm temporal intolerant. Oh, that time travel is not sitting well with me right
That's
now.
hilarious.
What are you, an Iconian?
I can't eat Iconian food. I can't eat Iconian food. I'm temporal intolerant.
Oh,
it messes me up so bad.
You do not want to be around.
So, long story short, I really rewatch it, do it again, go through it again. I think that
We
there
talked
are-
a long time ago about how this was not designed to be serialized, not
it
designed to be
just
episodic. It was binged. It was supposed to be binged. They wrote it as a binge thing, and that's how it should have been done. But because of CBS marketing,
Jamal Taylor goes tempo bismol.
tempo abysmal. There it is.
That's classic.
I
I live even the first episode when Jet Reno comes on. You're just like, oh my god, I love her. It's so awesome.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be binge.
I think that you know what's interesting though is that what you said, Tony, about how this was really more designed to be a binge. I don't feel that way with other shows that are released weekly, and I wonder if, from a writer's perspective, even though The Boys is an excellent example of this. The Boys is a series on Amazon that actually features 2 Star Trek actors, Carl Urban and Jack Quaid. And when that is released every Friday, I watch an episode and I feel complete. Like, if the series ended, I wouldn't necessarily be hateful that they didn't finish the story. And I don't think they're writing like that with Discovery, at least not these last 2 seasons, right? So it became the weekly release was very, I think, in my opinion, very detrimental to Discovery as a whole. Definitely season 1, for sure, season 1, and
Yeah.
even more so in season 2, and then again in season 2. Because as I'm watching it, I'm going, wow, that's actually pretty deep. The whole thing with the sphere, that episode with the sphere, I would argue just as good as New Eden. Another very familiar Star Trek feel to it. When Saru lets Culber and Tyler fight in the mess hall, that would never happen in Starfleet. But you know what? It would happen 10 years before 1966 Enterprise TOS. I mean, they had brawls all the time. They just started throwing fists whenever. So
Yeah, but that was usually on the space station with the Klingons, though.
that may be true.
That's only when they
But
call the
it's
Enterprise
not-
a garbage scow.
it's if you didn't like Discovery on a weekly basis and you haven't gone back to binge it, at the very least do season 2, because obviously it leads up to what we're about to experience, and you may find that you enjoy it more, and you may find that you've picked up on things that you didn't in the first watch. You'll also pick up on crappier things that you didn't pick up on the first thing, and you'll be reminded of some of the things that you really hated, like the Ba'ul are clearly what killed Tasha Yar, but God forbid the writers put 2 and 2 together, or that the nanoprobes that take over Leland are straight up Borg ripoffs. But let's just put that aside. Rewatch season 2. I think you'll enjoy it. Cat.
So that'll be it for Lower Decks.
That'll be it for Lower Decks. It was on screen. I felt that this was the only place that I could see it.
Oh, okay. I guess that's true. That's a good point. There you go.
Well, that wraps up this week's on screen for Star Trek Lower Decks. Now let's open Haley frequencies and see what's incoming.
Everybody hit stop. Here's what I didn't pick up on the first watch, is that the AI from the future. Okay, let me phrase it this way. When I first watched it, I was under the impression that Control became self-aware on its own. Right? That it was starting to become self-aware. It didn't reach full sentience, right? And that, in doing so, learned about the sphere data with all the AI information and wanted to chase the sphere data. But what the story explains is that the AI in the future not only infects Arium, but also infects Control. So that is why Control becomes homicidal. And I hate that. I don't know when it happened. I don't know at what point. I liked it better thinking that Control was this program that the Federation had designed, and it started to become more self-aware on its own, and then wanted to hunt the AI data from the sphere. But no, the AI from the future ends up infecting both Control and Arium, and then it continues to chase the information, continues to chase the sphere data, which is weird to me. No?
Because if you have a damn time machine and you don't find it in the spot that you think it was, you just use the time machine to jump back again.
Well, that's what Burnham's mom was doing.
Yeah, so if Burnham's mom figured it out, why didn't the super intelligent AI from the future figure that out?
I don't know. Look, man, those are some deep plot holes that I cannot forgive.
It's just time travel stories are very hard, and unless you have I think the trick is you have to do a tiny loop, right?
Yes.
You need to have a self-contained loop. If you try to make it too big, it's too much. The successful Star Trek shows that are good with time travel do it in a small loop, an episode or two, and they keep it in that.
They also don't complicate things with multiverse theories. And when the episode where they capture Gabrielle Burnham, her mom, it makes it. She keeps saying. She says, "I've seen this time. I've seen many timelines." So what and she has this massive soliloquy monologue at the beginning of that episode or it's a mission log. It's one of her logs, where she talks about how time is really time is experienced by the observer. She's quoting Einstein. Blah blah blah. Not only did they just lazily used time travel. Like they didn't spend the time to try to close it, like
right.
It was a combination between time travel and multiverse theory.
Which is the same thing if you think about it.
Right. Yes.
But they
yes.
didn't.
Yes, but they didn't.
There you go. So yeah, it's yeah. I couldn't. I maybe I'll go back and binge it again, maybe. But I only made it through the first 3 episodes, and then I was like, no, I give this a pass. And then I came back in and watched a couple of them later on, and I watched the finale. I'm like, I don't understand even how they got from where I was to where I am. Like, it just didn't make any kind of sense whatsoever. So
did you binge it, or were you?
No, I just watched. I watched bits and pieces.
Oh, I see. We're going. Yeah, no, binge it.
Yeah,
Binge it.
Yeah, you gotta watch it in order.
I didn't have the patience for it. I threw my hands up in the air and just went, ugh.
Good though.
I'll go back. I watched it with a Pike, and I agree. Anson Mount's national treasure, and he has.
I wonder if his back hurts
Oh, from the uniforms?
from carrying the show.
You're hilarious. Okay.
I can't believe you fell for it too. You went with it. You had no idea where I was going.
Well,
with it.
there's all those stories about it, all those about how
true.
uncomfortable those spacesuits are. I thought you were just talking about how, like, they're painted on the skin tight and they screw with your back and stuff. But that was good. That was good. I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming.
All right, let's do this. Quite a bit of feedback. We should cut this down.
We have short segments. Let's take advantage of the plenty. There's plenty. Let's binge on feedback.
Who agreed? Jamal Taylor. Hell on Wheels was great.
I want to watch that now.
Oh, he's so good in it. Oh my god.
Are you still editing, or are we gonna go? Or?
Give me just 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm just.
That's it. Still
So
editing.
that's good.
we have to make good
All right,
radio.
I'm gonna
Okay,
hit.
all right.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's
Oh.
good.
All right.
I'm gonna hit the big red button for feedback in 3, 2, 1. This is Elio. Feedback sync 1.
This is Kat. Feedback sync 2.
This is Tony. Feedback sync 3.
Feedback in 3, 2. Well, Captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and even though subspace channels were kind of sparse these last couple of weeks, you've outdone yourselves this week, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages.
Last week, our community question was, does Star Trek need star power like Will Smith or Brie Larson to entice new fans, or would it hurt the franchise? And oh boy, did y'all have some opinions.
From Twitter, Hippie John writes, I think a big name with star power would be damaging, actually. One, they would not have to be absolutely amazing in the role, so fans and viewers can see the characters, and not the face, not the star. Oh, what? I messed that up. One, they would have to be absolutely amazing in the role, so fans and viewers can see the character and not the face, not the star. Two, it would be a big expense on one person, which would take budget from other aspects of the production. Lastly, the biggest stars Trek has ever had were great.
Also on Twitter, Trevor replied, fans are too preoccupied with things hurting the franchise, and it's led to a calcification of thought and way more gatekeeping and in-group, out-group nonsense than is appropriate or healthy. Sure, put an A-list talent in the captain's chair with a good story to bring to life. Sure, put in an A-list talent in the captain's chair with a good story to bring to life.
Again from Twitter, Jake Teskey says it depends. Wait, says he.
Yeah.
What? Is that his name?
Just remember the he.
Again from Twitter, Jake Teskey says, it depends. Whoopi Goldberg was a terrific addition to the TNG cast and an example of how to bring in star power the right way. As long as these big-time actors understand Star Trek is at its best an ensemble, it's great.
You know, it's very important that we address what kind of a little bit what both Jake and Trevor said, right? Is that, yeah, fans can get a little preoccupied with this is Trek, this is not Trek. And I think that we've done a decent job of not trying to measure or gatekeep. Instead, approaching our reviews as just television, right? Is it good television? Forget that it's Star Trek. Forget that it's
Except when you talk about lower decks. Let's make a
That's
big
not
exception for that. Okay.
Why?
Because you talk about it all the time. It's not the Trek you wanted.
It's not science. Lower Decks is nothing except a parody show. That's it. It's an office comedy parody show.
Okay.
How dare you?
How dare I?
So yes, I think that we need to move away from this concept of it's not Trek, it is Trek. You don't know what Trek is. I was watching Trek when your daddy was in diapers. No, we shouldn't. We should not be engaging with each other like that. But I don't think that we should also shut down anybody who is offering criticism and to a show that they like or don't like. When Tony was watching Star Trek when Elio was in diapers.
I think it's the other way around, actually. He's got a couple years on me.
Which
Lastly,
Tony?
from Twitter.
Cox has a few years on you?
Oh, were you talking about me or the other? I don't know.
How many other Tonys are there? Is Tony older than you? Anthony Cox is older than you?
He might be. Or close.
He's not.
I don't know. The rankings escape me. Elliot's old, though. That's all I know.
Yeah, Elliot's dirt.
Lastly, from Twitter, JFC replies, "Don't think it would hurt, but I do like seeing less-known actors and getting to see them flourish outside of Trek later. Patrick Stewart, Brent Spiner, and Alexander Siddig as examples."
Was that really the lastly? But
No.
oh.
Oh, there's more.
Oh,
there's more.
lastly from Twitter
Yeah.
specifically. Okay.
Yeah.
From Instagram, Thunderchild Prime wrote, "It's a no from me. Sure, Star Power would bring new fans." Hold on, let me start over. Thunderchild Prime wrote, "It's a no from me. Sure, Star Power would... Damn it. Sure, Star Power would bring new fans. However, the power of Trek is its writing and storylines. My personal issue would be if they did bring, My personal issue would be if they did bring, let's say, Will Smith. The image would be, look at Will Smith in new Star Trek, as opposed to, look at new Trek for its plot and quality."
Also from Instagram, For Cabezas Lucha says, "I think a big star could potentially take away from the great ensemble nature of most Trek shows." I think one thing that's a common theme here, look at it from the other perspective. If you attach an A-lister to a movie, you get more investors. So it's not for the fans, it's to get people to come in and say, "Oh yeah, that guy will sell tickets. I'll pay for making a Star Trek movie." You're not wrong that it takes away from the ensemble, but it brings in a different ensemble, an ensemble with cash.
Sorry.
She's typing.
Well,
It's gonna be good.
I'm trying to get the reference from the next segment, or the next bit, but I don't... Who's Padma? Padma Lakshmi? Is she in Star Trek? Who is
I
that?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know who Padma is.
I don't know either.
Go ahead and read the next one.
Okay. So like I don't have context for that. Okay. And from Facebook, friend of the show Ed O'Connell responded, "Star Trek has never been afraid to try and bring in big names. It just doesn't always work out schedule-wise. The actor's impact on Trek will depend entirely on the writing of the role. Someone like Will Smith can bring a lot to a project or can just be wasted on the project as well. The same with anyone. Yes, these names can bring in new fans. It's happened, but keeping the... What?
Keeping
Oh.
them. That should be the, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, typo.
But keeping them will fall to the writers."
Sorry, give me one moment.
The old story is that Eddie Murphy tried really hard to be in Star Trek 4.
I didn't think that he was trying. I thought that they tried to get him into Star Trek 4.
I think he wanted it too. I mean, I think that was a mutual thing, but it just didn't work out.
Also from Facebook, our Patreon supporter Gerald Bosch wrote, "Will Smith's own career demonstrates that the idea that casting big stars means a movie will be a big hit." Will Smith's own career demonstrates that the idea that casting big stars means a movie will be a big hit doesn't really work. Wild Wild West, After Earth, and last year's Gemini Man. All demonstrate that casting him isn't an automatic cash bonanza, and also shows, by extension, that this isn't true of any star. If there is a role that he or Brie Larson or whoever would be best suited for, then yes, cast them. However, if this is just another attempt to follow the myth that big stars guarantee big box office, it is a bad choice both from an artistic and from a business perspective. Hey, teacher guy, I'm curious. Can you record yourself reading this? I'd love to include your voice as a voicemail. So if you can really easily just email it to me on, like, do it on if you have an iOS device, just use the voice memo feature and send the M4A file.
Pretty sure he has Zoom. He's a professor.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Boom.
But I want to respond to this because, yeah, it doesn't guarantee it. It doesn't guarantee it, but it makes it bankable as from the investor standpoint. It makes it more likely that you might be able to generate some buzz and some ticket sales if you've got an A-lister on there. Everyone knows there's no guarantee in Hollywood on this stuff, but if you can attach somebody with a household name, you're going to punch through the noise of everybody else who's trying to release movies. That calculation may change these days because there's not a whole lot of movies being released, but that's the old calculus. Oh, can we
Kat,
go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Kat, read down Nick Wade.
Lastly, from Facebook, Nick Wade wrote, Star Trek to me has always been about the characters first and the people that played them second. I would have to ask why the need to bring in big names. If it's to bring in an audience, then you're in danger of it becoming the Will Smith or Brie Larson show/movie rather than a Star Trek show or movie. I think that was the issue for me with Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek rumors. It sounded like it would be a Tarantino film that may look a bit like... It sounded like it would be a Tarantino film that may look a bit like Trek rather than a Trek film that happened to be directed by Tarantino.
Okay, everybody hit stop.
I still want to see the Tarantino Trek for the updating yesterday's Enterprise.
All right, Jamal Taylor informs me that Padme Lakshmi was in Enterprise Season 2, Episode 11, which apparently I need to go watch after this.
Yeah, she's a chef, a big time chef, right? She's a world, like, I don't know that she's world renowned, but I know she's a chef and she's a big activist.
I mean, I know who she is. I just didn't realize she had been on Trek.
It's that one episode where you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the TNG episode with
Bomb
Phoenix.
K. Jensen?
Yeah,
Bomb
yeah.
K. Jensen, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of behaves a little bit like that. So he saves. They're both kind of marooned.
Perfect mate.
Yeah. It's not a shitty episode. I like Enterprise.
I'll watch it. I like her. I just didn't realize she was in that episode.
She's not a very good actress.
I mean, she's a chef.
Yeah, it's everybody else that has to act around a chef. Oh, this is great. Oh, yeah, I love this. Oh, so good. No, I'm full. No, thank you. No, I ate before I came here on accident. I forgot I was going to try your food. Oh, but this is really great. We do need an audio booth person. We really do.
Like, see what happens. The emergency producer hologram is not doing a very good job.
He's leaving it up to us to make good radio, and I don't know. Tonight we're just not having it. It's just not happening tonight.
What do you want me to do? I can't.
You need a second
I was
head
thinking
and another pair of arms.
thinking about trying to loop Elliot in here.
No.
What's he doing?
Like I said, he's old. Yeah, he can't do this. He can't do this. He can't hang with the young people anymore. It's beyond him now. Those days have passed.
All right, are you guys ready for closing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to hit the big red button in 3, 2, 1. This is Elio, closing sync 1.
This is Kat, closing sync 2.
This is Tony, closing sync 3.
Closing in 3, 2. Well, that wraps up episode 479 of Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. But there are more great shows available to you on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Just visit podcasts.roddenberry.com for a complete list. Then be sure to subscribe to all of the shows and, of course, share them with your friends.
And we can't forget to send a special thanks to some of our Patreon supporters like David K. Rutley, Peter Archibald, Gerald Bosch, and Joshua Selig is back as a patron at the commander level. Thanks,
Woohoo!
Joshua.
Welcome back, Joshua.
Thank you.
And here's a reminder of our community question for this week. How do you feel about Noah Hawley's Star Trek film? Do you like the idea of moving away from Kirk and Picard? Do you think Federation ideals should need saving?
Captains, it's important to us that you get your voice heard and that you participate in the conversation. Leave us a comment on our website at PriorityOnePodcast.com, on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/PriorityOnePodcast, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at PriorityOnePod.
And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters, Anthony, me, plus the rest of the Priority One Armada. Saturday nights, the Armada broadcasts live to review the latest news from Star Trek Online and the Armada community, including spotlighting some of our amazing members. With regular giveaways, there's something for all STO players, whether you're new or a veteran. Follow us on all our social media accounts for broadcast times, and if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
I got better eyebrows on The Rock. This episode of Priority One Podcast is brought to you by our patrons through Patreon.com. During these difficult times, Captains, we understand that a financial contribution may not be in the... Captains, during these difficult times, we understand that a financial contribution may not be in the cards. So, each one of you that does support us through Patreon humbles us... During these difficult times, we are humbled by the continued support of our patrons who find value in the content we produce each and every week. Now, we do understand that, given the nature of things, a financial contribution may not be possible. There is another way you can help Priority One, and that's by joining the team. We're looking for audio editors. We're looking for writers. We're looking for video editors. We are also looking for a live stream technician. Someone to join the show and help us Tuesday night to broadcast live on places like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. So if you have the time and would like to be an added voice to the show, be sure to visit PriorityOnePodcast.com, and at the very top you'll see a link that says Join the Crew. There you'll find a description of all the volunteer positions we have available and a form easily accessible for you to fill out.
Don't forget to tune in to Priority One Productions' Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts. And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Learn all about the latest applications. Learn all about the latest publications, tools, tips, tricks, and traps in less time than it takes to skin a wyvern. Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com to discover their secrets.
A very special thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, who delivered an amazing Retro Trek segment this week. Brandon, William, Rand, Daniel, Roscoe, and Skiffy. Thanks to our producer Jake Morgan and associate producers Shane and Thomas. Together they help us organize and write up our weekly summary of the weekly headlines from the Star Trek Multiverse. Thanks to our social media manager, Anthony Cox. Thanks to our graphic artist, Henry Pomper, with support from Jason Smith of the Priority One Armada. Thanks to the composer of our theme music, Chris Watts. But, most importantly, a big thanks to you, the Star Trek community, our listeners, because without your ongoing support, none of this would be possible. I was wondering what all this stuff was. All
extra
right,
stuff.
everybody hit
That's from
stop.
last week.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Captains.
Well, that's it.
That's it. That's all she wrote.
That's all we
So
have. We
now-
have no more.
So joining us for After Hours this week is one of our patrons, Peter Archibald, who is invited to join if you will become a commander level patron at $25 a month. It's not a week, guys. Patreon doesn't. Excuse me. Patreon doesn't charge $25 weekly. It's $25 a month or $10 a month. And one of the benefits of becoming a commander is at $25 a month is that you're more than welcome to join us on After Hours and be a guest host on After Hours. So if that's something that interests you, head on over to patreon.com/priority1. Check us out there and see if there's a tier that might be up your alley. Or if you don't have the financial means to support a podcast, but you have time, well, maybe you should reach out to us and think about becoming a volunteer on Priority One Podcast. It doesn't hurt to try, right? Like, that's really what it boils down to, right? Just don't be afraid. Don't think that you don't have it in you. I didn't when I first started. If you listen to a Priority One episode from my first, Jesus Christ, that was a bad episode. It's a shitty episode.
But remember, podcasts have just barely been invented in those days.
That's
from
I
long,
no,
long ago.
no. They have been out for a while. 2000,
Well,
8 years ago, 2012. They were already.
The technology was primitive.
That's true,
Methods
man.
were amateur.
We are podcast.
Yeah, sorry,
veterans.
Zeph Films. You just missed, like, the show.
You missed the whole show, Zeph. Come
All of
on,
it.
man. You know we go live at
He's
9.
got a baby.
What are you doing? You're putting a baby to bed or something? What's happening here? What
got
are
a
you worried about
baby.
a little baby? What's happening, man? Unbelievable.
Aw.
Got a baby. His
All right, guys.
time is longer his own.
Time to head out. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on all the social media platforms. Most of the social media platforms. All right. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
Bye,
everyone. See you next week.
See ya.
Command codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.